Hi there, welcome to another episode of Driving with Jonny. I'm Jonny, and this is a Hot Rod 911. Now, air-cooled Porsches are having a little moment. We're putting them on t-shirts. For some people, getting a funky colored one defines their entire personality. In fact, there's a whole show, you might have heard of it, called Luft Gekoelt. It simply means air-cooled, and all it is a place where people get together and look at cars just like this. You might have heard of a company called Singer. Singer, they kind of commodified the genre, shall we say. Everybody wants one. Problem is, these days they cost $1 million. This, while not cheap, costs a lot less than that. The company that makes it is called Makellos, might even be pronounced Makellos. I don't know. They're calling this one the ST. We'll get into why in a little bit, but the question becomes, at this price point, which is high, is it worth it? Is it any good? And most importantly, if it's worth the money, would I have one? That's what we're gonna find out on this episode of Driving with Jonny.
Driving with Jonny!
Hi there. I want to talk to you about BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video. I never thought I needed therapy. Straight up, I weirdly assumed that it was for other people, not me. And then a few years ago, I lost 5 people who were hugely important to me in rapid succession. And instead of dealing with it, I bottled it up and I found myself in a very bad, a very angry, very dark place. I was walking around with my fists clenched and my jaws clenched, and it just wasn't me. And then my wife noticed, and she told me that she didn't marry an angry guy. I was lucky. I was able to get myself into therapy, and it really, truly helped. My anger at the hand I'd been dealt, it went away, and I got the old me back. Instead of spending my days angry, I was once again able to spend them, thinking about, cars and watches. And BetterHelp can help you achieve the same thing by matching you up with a therapist that's right for you. All you have to do is visit betterhelp.com/drivingwithjonny, which you'll find down below in the description or right here on the screen, and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Remember, therapy isn't for the weak. It's for anyone who wants to become stronger. Once again, that's betterhelp.com/drivingwithjonny for 10% off your first month of therapy. There seems to be this unspoken rule, and that is when you modify a 911 and make it your own, you gotta put on, as a friend of mine calls them, crackhead headlights. You gotta have weird headlights. For some reason, Porsche headlights, no good. Also, if you can figure out fog lights, even better. Singer didn't come up with it, but everyone thinks of it as the Singer fuel cap. It does look pretty cool. I like these lights, they look pretty good. This paint, it's called Smyrna Green, fantastic. One of the reasons they're calling this the ST is they put ST fenders front and rear. I love the flare, it looks good. Also, high profile tires. What is that, 4 or 5 inches? Just looks so good. 8-spoke wheels, I might have preferred Fuchs, but whatever. This one's actually a 72. You can see on the other side, the oil, used to be an oil flap, now it's an oil cap. It has that, so it identifies as a 72. Outback, twin pipes, classic. Outback, twin pipes, classic, looks good. They did a nice job with the grill work here and the underneath grill. Tells you it's a 3.5, which is an odd size for a Porsche motor. 911 ST, I don't like the name, I don't like the badging, we'll get into that. But overall, looks-wise, this is a 9.99 out of 10. And then we get to the interior. I will get to the price, I promise, but damn, the money in this car is on the inside. All right, we're gonna drive this thing. Before we do, they gave me a handy build sheet. I'm gonna read you some specs. All right, so this is the 1972 Porsche 911 ST. Let's see, the engine is a 930 21 that was a 3.2 bored out to a 3.5. We're saying 10 to 2 compression. It's got cool stuff like a 964 crankshaft that's been cross drilled 996 GT3 bearings, CP Carrillo, X-Forged rods, Mahle 98mm pistons, Doherty D60 camshafts, ASCO TI valve springs, 993 threaded head studs, Ross Sport Racing 48mm ITB throttle bodies. Ross Sport does the Gunther stuff. That's good stuff. Motec, the ECU, it's 996 GT3 intake plenum, Quaif limited slip, Bursch 1 1/3 stainless headers, sport muffler, 100-liter fuel tank, turbo feed, blah, blah, blah. Big cooler, Elephant Racing stuff, spring plates. The big thing here, Carrera 3.2 front control arms, aluminum swing arms. And we'll get to that. But Bilstein RSR front rear coilovers, also super important. Tarrant RSR sway bars, adjustable bump steer kit, adjustable strut tower brace, and on and on and on. There's a lot of stuff here. So just parts alone, you're talking a lot of money. However, let's drive this thing. So they did go with a 915 box. 915 box is an older box. I guess it makes it period correct, but I think a G50 transmission might have been better. It is a great motor. They're saying 320 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque. Maybe. I feel like California fuel, plus we're a mile up in the air right now, doesn't quite feel that powerful, but it's pretty good and it likes to rev. We're sitting at 5,500 RPM right now in third gear. Do this all day. Coilovers. That's really the big difference between this and like a regular 72 Porsche. A regular Porsche, it does this funny dance thing. The front end is just so old school that it's always kind of moving around, doing its thing. And then if you turn the steering wheel, if you go like this, nothing happens. It's the first like 2 degrees left to right, you got nothing, even under braking. This though is very precise. This, a lot of times with the 911, older ones, you want to really brake into a turn, trail brake through the turn, because you want to keep the front loaded up, otherwise you're understeering. This one, no, you can just rip through a turn. Tires are great. The setup of this car is great, and also because of the thick sidewalls, even though it's stiff, the ride quality is awesome. I'd love to see a return to tires like this, just for the ride quality. Yeah, I want a stiff suspension so I can do this around corners, but I don't need to be beaten up. I'm not on a racetrack. And it just feels so solid. Like I haven't had a single anything with the motor. The whole thing feels really, really good. I love the seats. I love the leather on the seats. Love the leather on the seats. It's a wonderful car to drive. And it's a wonderful car to like push hard. And then if you do this, 4th gear, 3,500 RPM, it quiets down a bit. And like sometimes you just want to cruise, you know what I mean? Like it's great to push a car, but sometimes you just want to go for a nice long drive. Maybe you got your wife, your kid, your boyfriend, whoever in the car, and you don't need to be pushing the bloody edge of the envelope at 11 tenths. You know what I'm saying? You can just relax and have fun, or you can push it. Either way, this car does both, which is great. During the pandemic, I remember a friend of mine was selling it, a 1974 911. And I was just kind of hot to buy a car. I think everyone in the pandemic, we were just bored out of our minds, right? And so I wanted a car, and he was selling it. It was yellow, canary yellow. It was like an 85 out of 100 point car, pretty good. And I was driving it, and I was really hot to buy it. And luckily, I ran into none other than Magnus Walker, Mr. Porsche, and I said, Magnus, come for a ride with me. What do you think? And he says, I can't do his accent, but, mate, was this a $50,000? I was selling it for $50,000. Does this feel like a $50,000 driving experience to you? And no, it super did not. It was about a $23,000 driving experience, so really made me think man, I do like an old 911, but they're very much of their time. This one with the power and the sophistication of the suspension, the great steering, the really good brakes, haven't talked about that. I even like the tight notchy 915 shifter. It kind of scratches some sort of old school itch that I have. I like that, but have I told you the price yet? It's $450,000. Yeah, that's a lot of scratch. So to Magnus's question, is this a $450,000 driving experience? Conundrum, because like I can nitpick this thing, like especially for 450 grand. Man, these gauges should work. Like the speedo's low, the fuel gauge is out to lunch. You know, I want perfection. For that money, I want every single thing always perfect. Like the center fuel cap looks cool. It's just a giant hole. It's just a big orifice. Whereas like that roof we drove, it's got a regular female connector, meaning you don't have to like stand there and hold it when you put fuel in. For that kind of money, I demand perfection. So, but that said, it's charming the pants off me. So, you know, you can say, oh, it's worth whatever they'll pay for it. But I don't know. Also, a Singer's $1 million because people know that Singers cost $1 million, right? A Gunther Works is also $1 million, but people know what a Gunther is. And Makellos, like, might be your last name, but you know, if I started a company, who wants a Lieberman? You know, so I would say, like, let's work on the marketing a little bit. Let's get this story straight. How about instead of Makellos, we'll call it the Mulholland, something evocative, right? It's, oh, what is that? That's a Mulholland. Whoa, Mulholland 911, yeah. You know, if you want to keep it real Southern California, instead of like 911 ST, which it's not an ST, let's be real. Like, oh, that's the Van Nuys Commission, or, you know, play with the dorkiness of what Singer's up to. Oh, is that a Pacoima? You know, like, oh, you know, it's a, you know, oh, I got my Silmar edition in Smyrna green, you know, that go nuts. Something like that, because like Singer, well, you know, there's a story there. Like, you know, Rob, you know, from Singer, he was a singer. He was a singer of Catherine Wheel. He was Bruce Campbell's cousin, which I think is actually kind of way cooler. But, you know, people would say, oh, the Singer's 911, the Singer car. And that's where that came from. You know, it's a good story. Gunther Works. They made it up. You know, some German engineer that, you know, worked on rockets. Gunther. It sounds, it evokes something. Makellos sounds Greek, vaguely Greek, but it isn't. So I would work on that. I'm giving you Mulholland. You should take it. I would take it. Yeah, these guys, Makellos, they gave me another car. They gave me this thing. I was calling it Bluebird. Maybe they were, but it was a roof Yellowbird tribute. Awesome twin turbo, 470 horsepower, roof gearbox. Totally was like driving a Yellowbird. But I've been trying to tell people about it, and honestly, I couldn't remember the name. Now, it's my job to remember cars, right? And it was just blanking. And it was like buried somewhere on Instagram. And I just, you know, I think that's slightly holding them back, because the car, the way it drives is great, but, you know, marketing's a big part of it. And I've definitely, you know, I've talked to people like, hey man, you should buy a Gunther. And they're like, I don't really know Gunther. A Singer, I'd buy a Singer. I want a Singer. You driven one? No. Driven a Gunther? No. Well, I've driven a Gunther. They're awesome. Yeah, but Singer. So marketing, it's a real thing. And man, you could market the hell out of this. They just need to do it, because this car, just a lovely car to drive. Yeah. I mean, loves the corner. Look at that. Oh. So, yeah. Very rock and roll. I would be very happy if I had this car. It's you can do this up in the canyons. It's actually a nice little neighborhood vehicle. Run around. You know, you're not going grocery shopping necessarily, but just run around, run small errands. It's great around town. It's not scraping on anything. You know, it doesn't have or need a front end lift. Again, big fat tires, like, you know, just potholes, whatever. Yeah, they've really done something Very cool here. It's very hot rod Porsche. You know, Mulholland Racer. That's what I would call it. That's the Mulholland. It's the Racer. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Yeah. A couple other things I would fix if I was these cats. The brake pedal sticks out like 6 inches too far. There's literally no way to heel and toe. I don't know why it sticks out so far, but I don't even know if you can see my knee. But like to get from the throttle to the brake, I'm really moving my leg. What's that about? Lower that brake pedal. But other than that, yeah, it's a 5-speed. I love that. 4-speed would even be cooler. Who needs that 5th gear? But I could just do this all day. Oh, and that 100-liter, 25-gallon fuel tank, you could do it all day. Sounds good too. Fun to drive, sounds good, looks great, rides great, I'm comfy. It scratches all those 911 itches. What a super cool car. Yeah, man, call it the Southern California. We're driving the Mulholland Southern California. Perfect. What is it? SoCal. Oh, what's it got? Oh, it's a 3.5 liter. It's painted a rad color. It's just designed for the canyons. Oh, you designed a car for the canyons in LA? Yes, we did. Oh, cool. That's so cool. You know, have a story, tell a story, something. Also, just give me this car. You know, say it was stolen. I like this thing. Oh, I hate when I like cars this much. Can I compare it to like a Gunther? No, it's totally different. But again, it's just that classic hot rod 911. You're taking something that was, cutting edge in 1972, and even it was like the ST was cutting edge in 1971. This was a bog standard, as the Brits would say, 911S, maybe, or just even a 911. And you just refine it. You more engine, more brakes, more suspension. You just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And eventually, you get something cool like this. All right. Have a decision to make. In conclusion, what an annoying car. And here's why it's annoying. The more I drove it, the more I liked it. In fact, it wasn't even it's kind of lust. Like, I love this car. It's so good. And like, the harder you push it, the more rewarding it is. And it just feels great. And they just solve for a lot of early 911 problems. But we had 2 questions, right? And the price point. I texted them this morning. This is $400,000, right? Actually, Mr. Lieberman, this one is $450,000. And if you want your own, though, just give us a 911 and then $300,000. That's got to be for the base car. Let me tell you, I require woven leather. So I'm probably going to get back to this $450,000 price point. And I'm thinking well, what costs $450,000, right? So it's a Ferrari 296 with like a leather roof. That's like, I don't know, a McLaren 765 LT Spider. Like, you get a lot of supercar for that kind of cash. And while this is great, it ain't super, but it would satisfy all of my air-cooled needs. I would slay at Cars and Coffee. I would be invited to Lufka Cool. I'd be a cool kid. I could run around town doing errands. Like, I dropped my kid off at school this very morning. And let me tell you, all the dads, they wanted to punch me, and all the moms wanted my number. At least that's how my diseased brain was working. But anyhow, it's awesome for that kind of stuff. But then up here, it's just such a good driver, just a cruiser, and then you can push it. And so it's this weird split decision where it's not worth the money on one hand. I totally want it on the other. Here's the solution. California State Lottery, NFL will probably sue us for this, but that's okay. I'm going to scratch this ticket right now on camera, and if I win, I very well may buy this car. We'll see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do my winning numbers. Okay. All right, and then let's scratch these off. Okay, extra points. Oh, I got an extra point win. Uncover and win prize shown instantly. Oh, I won. Okay, $17, Rylick. Extra point, win. Rylick, I think I won $20. Hang on. Okay. I think I won $20. Hang on. These are hard. Yeah, $20. I won $20. So I'm gonna buy myself a hamburger. I'm not gonna buy myself a Makellos 911 ST. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Driving with Jonny. If you like this video, hit like. If you really like this video, share it with your friends. If you really, really like this video, leave a comment. Whatever you do, just again, thank you so much. And we'll catch you next week with another brand new episode of Driving with Jonny.